Good afternoon, everybody. So we're here to talk about a couple of shootings that happened over the last week and arrests we made today. As we know, I think most people are aware, most homicides that occur here in Pinellas County, and really everywhere for that matter, are not random events. They're not random shootings. Most of the time, there's some nexus between the shooter and the victim. Whether it's a drug deal that's gone bad, domestic violence situation, some fight between people. It's generally not random crime where citizens who are going about their daily business are the victim of a shooting. Especially where a person sets out to shoot more than one person in spaced events. And I can't think of, coming into this and earlier today, thinking about a time in Pinellas County where we've had, the last time we had a situation where we've had random more than one shooting. It's been a long time where average citizens were really in peril and in harm's way because of somebody who was out shooting people that they didn't know about. And I think that, as you'll hear as I explain this, that this was a true public safety nightmare that was getting ready to unfold. But thanks to good old-fashioned police work, technology, science, and good partnerships and cooperation through information between citizens and law enforcement, a murderer was off the street, and we stopped, I really think, what could have been Seminole Heights 2.0 from what happened in Tampa a couple years ago, where they had those multiple string of shootings that were random in nature. So here's what happened. Last Thursday night, October 7th, at about 9:45 p.m., deputies responded to a report of gunfire, shots fired, at the Bayou Court Apartments, located at 7525 83rd Street North in Seminole. Deputies found a 40-year-old white male who had been shot multiple times with a 9mm handgun. The victim told deputies that he was sitting by the pool area in front of his apartment, smoking a cigarette, minding his own business, just sitting there, when he saw a person round the corner, kind of by a stairwell, and point a gun at him, and the gun had a laser sight on it, and just started firing. And the victim was hit several times. We obtained video surveillance from the cameras in the apartment complex, and the shooting was captured by that video. The victim in this case did not know the shooter. The incident was under investigation as we tried to positively identify the suspect. The victim was shot, but he was not killed. The shooter in that situation used a 9mm handgun, and we found several shell casings from several different manufacturers at the scene. And I'd say, just based on experience, it is unusual that you see people who shoot guns that have, especially some really off-brand ammunition. And there was several different manufacturers' rounds that were fired. So that's something that's very distinctive and unique and unusual. Then what happened last night, so this is all under investigation. We're trying to figure out what happened. It's a one-time event as far as what we knew. It happened last week. Detectives are working with the victim, and we're trying to figure this thing out. Then last night, at about 8:30, and I'm going to try and do it this way so that I can stand here in front of the microphone. This event from last Thursday happened right here. Here's where the apartments are, the Bayou Apartments over here, just north of Park Boulevard off of 83rd. So that's where that happened last Thursday. And again, it's in the courtyard area. Guy's sitting there just smoking a cigarette, minding his own business, and just boom, 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 and he gets shot with these rounds. The shooter on video after he shot took off, and again, the investigation was ongoing. So last night at about 8:30 p.m., deputies responded to a report of shots fired. So here's the original situation from Thursday night over here, and a few blocks over is where last night's shooting happened. So this shooting last night was on 84th Lane, just north of 75th Place. When deputies arrived here last night, again at about 8:30, they found 55-year-old white male, Eddie Lee Hoskins, Hoskins, who was deceased in the street. Mr. Hoskins had been shot multiple times. Now, whether it's a coincidence, I can't tell you at this point, but it does seem like it's just a coincidence, is that Hoskins, although he was over here, he also lived at the Bayou Apartments, the same place the original victim was from last Thursday. But everything points to that that's just purely coincidence. And Hoskins, when he was out last night and he was shot, he was walking his dog. He had a little Chihuahua. He was out walking the dog. He didn't have his wallet with him, didn't have any keys with him, and it appeared that he was just out like people do that time of night, just taking his dog for a walk. The dog was unharmed and was still on the leash when deputies arrived and found Hoskins deceased in the street. A citizen who had been driving on 84th Lane moments before the incident. So here's the incident. A citizen had been driving northbound on 84th Lane, and that citizen had a dash camera in his car. We're seeing this more and more. In fact, we're seeing it quite a bit where people have dash cameras in their cars. And this citizen had a dash camera in his car, and he captured video of a car, a Lexus, that was parked southbound on the east side of 84th Lane, right there where the shooting happened. And that Lexus parked on the side of the road, which is this photo over here to my right, had the door open and the car was parked there on the side. And what was distinctive about it is the Lexus had a headlight out. So after the citizen captures that, he keeps going. But a citizen's home camera system, and that citizen's home camera system was down here at the corner. The citizen's home camera system also had audio on it, and the citizen's home camera system clearly and very distinctively captured a multitude of gunshots. Moments after those gunshots are heard, another home camera system captured that same car, the Lexus with the one headlight, that had been parked on the roadside, traveling west on 75th Avenue at a high rate of speed. The Lexus then went north on 85th Lane to 76th Avenue north. We had undercover street crime detectives that were working in the area, and they immediately responded to the scene last night. Those detectives were able to speak with several witnesses that saw the Lexus, same one with the one headlight, travel east on 76th Avenue and pull into the driveway at 8305 76th Avenue, which is right here. Again, this is where the car pulled into. This is where the original shooting happened last Thursday, and this is where the shooting happened last night. All of this that I'm explaining to you is captured on various home video camera systems along 76th Avenue. It took 57 seconds from the time the shots were fired, and we know that because the shots being fired are captured on the audio of the resident's video system. And it took 57 seconds for that Lexus, after the shots were fired, to travel to the home that I just described to you on 76th Avenue. So through the investigation last night and early this morning, detectives identified a resident of 8305 76th Avenue, which is the red dot there along 76th Avenue that I've been pointing to. And that resident is Elijah, E-L-I-J-A-H, Isaiah, I-Z-I-A-H, Darius, and it's spelled D-E-R-A''U-S, and his last name is McCray, M-C-C-R-A-Y. And he's a 20-year-old black male who is identified as a suspect. There's no relationship between McCray and Hoskins, just like there's no relationship between McCray and the shooting victim from last Thursday. There's no nexus, there's just no relationship at all. The gun used to shoot Hoskins last night, like the gun that was used to shoot the victim in last Thursday's attempted murder, was a 9mm. Like the scene from Thursday, 9mm shell casings were found at the scene last night, again, from a variety of manufacturers. Some of the same manufacturer shell casings that were found last night were the same shell casings that were found at Thursday's scene last week. So detectives obtained a search warrant for McCray's home and car. and we established surveillance at the residence. At about 1 o'clock today, McCray exited the residence, and when approached by uniformed deputies, he failed to follow directions. He ran from the deputies. They chased him down and took him into custody. As a result of serving the search warrant, deputies found a loaded 9mm handgun with a laser sight. Again, a laser sight was used at last Thursday's shooting under McCray's pillow in his bed in the house. Ammunition that was found in McCray's room matches the manufacturer's ammunition, the various manufacturers' ammunition found at last night's shooting and the shooting last Thursday. McCray made statements to detectives that he was a, quote, contract assassin who worked for the government. He also stated he had a right to carry firearms even though he was an adjudicated delinquent, and as a juvenile delinquent and being adjudicated, it is illegal for him to possess any guns. McCray's juvenile history, he's 20 now, but he had a pretty extensive juvenile history, included burglary, loitering and prowling, grand theft, improper exhibition of a firearm, possession of an altered firearm, assault with a weapon, and being a felon in possession of a gun. Now, this investigation is still active, very active as we speak. It's ongoing, and right now, McCray's being charged with attempted first-degree murder for last Thursday's shooting, and I anticipate by the end of the day, he will be charged with first-degree murder from last night's shooting. We're just waiting on the results of some additional lab tests before we formally place that charge. And thankfully, this is a very unusual situation where we have citizens who are victims of random shootings and murders. And of course, I'm very thankful that we're able to make this arrest and get this guy off the street before there were more victims. And as soon as we talked about this morning and we saw what happened, we're starting to put it together. And I can tell you, it just put a knot in my stomach because I saw what was unfolding here and the pathway that this was on. And the pathway that it was on was terrible. One of the things that we often talk about with citizens throughout the community that Pinellas County, and it is a safe community, and when we do see violent crime, so much of it, unfortunately, is where people know each other, and that you can pretty much go about your business and you're not going to be the victim of random violent crime. That's not the case here. And this very much is reminiscent of what happened in Seminole Heights. And if it wasn't for, again, a bunch of hardworking cops in the middle of the night putting all this together, good and great cooperation from citizens that were willing to come forward, using science, using technology, all the resources that we have available to us, this guy probably would still be out there with that gun under his pillow getting ready to decide who his next victim was going to be, in the sense that he was going to go out and randomly kill somebody. And so I can't express strongly enough how thankful we all are that this guy's in custody and that we only had one death. And the second victim is going to be okay, but this could have been a very bad situation.
So, Sheriff, there's little doubt in your mind that this would have continued had he not been stopped?
Yeah, no doubt in my mind, based on everything I know, everything I see. I was out there at the scene today, was there when they were interviewing him, looked at all the evidence, looked at this whole thing. And I can tell you that this guy was just randomly killing people, or he randomly killed a person and tried to kill a second and was just waiting for more.
The motive of using different brands of ammunition, is there any rhyme or reason behind that?
Probably all you could get. Right now, we don't know until we get with ATF and do some traces of the firearm as to where that firearm was purchased and kind of follow a path with it. Now, I can tell you back in August is that he was also stopped by one of our deputies in Madeira Beach. He was driving down 113th Street and he was swerving. And the deputy stopped him. There were some things there that he did and said that were kind of suspicious. And so the deputy did what we call a field interview report as a result of the traffic stop. He thought he might have been impaired, and he wasn't. But there were some things there that piqued the deputy's curiosity and just made it a little bit suspicious and weird. And one of the things he was doing, he was asking the deputy what kind of gun the deputy carries and what model and what make. And he was very inquisitive about guns and said that he wanted to get a gun. So, and again, I don't know, but I can tell you just from experience and what I see here is that he probably did what he said he was going to do in August and acquired a gun. And if you're getting guns off the street, crime guns, you're going to get a hodgepodge of ammo, whether he got it from wherever or he stole it. It isn't like people go to the local gun store or the sporting goods store and name manufacturer and they just buy it because you're getting it off the street. So that wouldn't be unusual. It would be consistent with people involved in criminal activity because they don't really care about the type of ammunition.
That helps you link crimes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because you got 9mm rounds and you've got the gun with a laser sight. You've got these varied manufacturers, shell casings at Thursday's scene, at last night's scene, and in his bedroom. So, you know, and the same kind of gun with a laser sight. It's a good case. And again, I'm very confident that we've got the right person. I know we got the right person, or that's why we made the arrest and the charges. And there's no doubt that this thing was unfolding to be potentially something much worse. And I'm just thankful that we were able to stop it early when we did.
Has Mr. Hoskins' family been notified of the arrest so quickly in this murder?
Yeah, you know, he was in that housing. We've been able to notify some people. He really didn't have any family local. He, from what I understand, was a veteran. He was being treated at the VA and was pretty much by himself. Now, you know, this is some irony to this, is that Mr. Hoskins, because they all live in the same complex, is that he knew the victim from Thursday night shooting and actually went over to the victim's house and helped him clean up after he was shot. And then he goes out last night and he's the victim. So yeah, that's just one of those ironies.
The juvenile record for the suspect, is he from the area here in Pinellas County?
Yes.
Okay.
It sounds like these 4 witnesses were really critical in you tracking him down last night.
Oh, huge. You know, again, you know, sometimes things fall into place, and you know, you know, we all say about sometimes you get lucky. Well, you don't really get lucky. You make your own luck, if you will. And how this happened is that, you know, we had deputies that were in the area. And one of the things that was very crucial, was having those street crimes detectives that were out there. They were able to get in that area fast. Because one of the detectives in particular, as soon as he got there, he's the one that talked to each and every one of these people going down 76th Avenue and was able to piece it together, and then found a Lexus in that driveway and were able to put the video of the car going in the driveway and then be able to take it from the audio with the shots fired and at 57 seconds from the shooting to the house. So no question that the citizens having those cameras, the citizen cooperation and people coming out, being willing to work with us, the detective being there, everything coming together was crucial in putting this together. Otherwise, it would have been like last Thursday's, where you got a whodunit and you don't have much to work with. Because we didn't have a lot to work with from last Thursday. And you know, last night was very different.
Is the victim of the attempted murder still in the hospital, Sheriff?
He's out.
He's out. You'd be able to notify him as well about the arrest?
Yes.
How's he doing?
He's doing okay. He's doing all right. Yeah.
What else can you tell us regarding the suspect besides criminal records? Is there any drug abuse, mental?
Yeah, can you talk? I just had no trouble hearing you.
I'm just wondering if you can tell us more about the suspect.
Yeah, it's what I know at this point. Detectives are still interviewing him and talking to him. He did make a number of statements that I would consider to be acknowledgments, and his statements about, you know, being a contract assassin, said that he's done hits in the past. You know, some of these things are kind of illogical statements. Said he reported to somebody in Tallahassee, you know, some of these things. It was very, very adamant. I mean, dug in adamant about his right to carry firearms and to use firearms. In some of his statements, there's almost a tinge, if you will, of sovereign citizen type attitude and statements, that he was above it all, which, you know, as I listened to him and heard what he was saying and seeing all this, it put a knot in my gut, because again, this is the type of person that you're most concerned about, and that is, you know, off to some degree and is just wanting to go out. And what he was talking about, you can see with this stance, like on the video from Thursday night, is that when he rounded that corner and that guy was sitting by the pool from Thursday night's incident, and when he came out, he just rounded off on the guy. I mean, he was using tactical stances and tactical positioning. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he had a laser sight. And on the video, you could see the laser sight was on. So he came around that corner and he came up with that gun with the laser sight on. and knew exactly what he was doing. So this is a guy, and the other thing we found in the apartment with the search warrants is he's been practicing with the firearm because we found used targets in this bedroom. So again, somebody that had been thinking about this and had a plan and was out affecting that plan.
Any history of mental health issues that you're aware of?
Not anything serious, no. And again, when the deputy had the contact with him back in August, is there really was no indication of that. We've talked to his family, and his family has not shed any light that would indicate any real serious mental health issues. Nothing to this extent that would cause him to do something like this. Of course, we ask those questions, but also, we'll say again, is that we're very early on, the investigation's ongoing. Of course, there's a lot more people that we're going to talk to. But as far as any diagnosed mental health conditions, the answer to that is no, according to the family members we've talked to.
Live with anyone at that address?
Yeah, his brother lived there, his aunt lived there. There are other people who were associated with that address, but last night, his brother was there with his girlfriend, and his aunt was there.
You can go a long time without seeing something like this as sheriff. They're rare, as you said.
Yep.
As far as I know, crime across the state is down overall. We have seen this increase in homicides. Do you make anything of that at all?
You know, it's hard. You know, you're right. Okay, the numbers show that overall crime is down in the state of Florida. Crime is down in Pinellas County. But in Pinellas County, like the rest of the state and the nation, violent crime is up. And we have seen an uptick of it. Now, most of the categories that we've seen an uptick in violent crime are in aggravated assaults. Gun crimes are up, though. They just are. Gun crimes are up. Now, when we're talking about them being up, most of the period that the data reflects, so the measurement reflects, is the period of time of calendar year 2020. 2020, as we know, is a complete anomaly, and I really caution people about using information and using data from 2020. I think that a more comparable, appropriate comparable time period would be the last 4 or 5 months in 2021 and then looking at 2019 or 2018. Because there's so many factors in 2020 of people being in close quarters, on top of each other, not working. I mean, there's so many things that I really caution using that as a comparator at this point. And until we see the total 2021 data, and then I think the appropriate thing to do is go back and compare it to 2019 and see what that looks like. But the facts are the facts, is that crime overall is down, but violent crime is up, and gun crimes are up. Now, you know, something like this, it's been, like I said, I can't think of the last time that we saw something like this, that really, I looked at this and said, you know, I've been here a long time, and I looked at this and said, we got a problem, right? This is an issue. This is a big deal. This is the real thing, and this is something that, you know, thankfully from a lot of hard work and a lot of things coming together for us, is that we're able to save some lives and keep this from being something that none of us want to see. You know, when you're at peril, in peril and at risk, and perhaps in harm's way, just because you're going about your daily business and going out and doing things like walking your dog and you're going to get shot, that's bad. That's a bad thing. That's a bad place to be, and we can't be having that.
Are you able to release any of the home surveillance videos at this time, Sheriff?
No, not right now. You know,
Just the one picture.
yeah, I'll give you the picture, you know, like you said, from the video. But right now, the investigation's ongoing, and it wouldn't be the right thing to do at this juncture.
Are there any other unsolved shootings in the last couple of weeks you think might be connected to the suspect?
No, not right now. Nothing that we're aware of.
What will you tell the community for them to make them feel safe after hearing all of this? How can you guarantee them that you guys are out there?
Well, that's why I wanted to really get in front of you all as quickly as we could today, to let the community know what happened and to make them feel safe, because we were on it and we were able to get this guy off the street very fast. The last thing I wanted to do was be standing in front of you and telling you, you know, within this few block radius, we got 2 random murders and we got a problem. You know, what I can tell the community is that we had a problem, we don't have a problem, the problem's been removed because of what we were able to accomplish in very short order, and everybody can go about their business and be safe. All right, thanks everybody.